This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. Good afternoon, my Real News Media TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update for July 24, 2023. And in the news this afternoon, a farmer to sue state after 5-year wait to get court docs needed for appeal. St. Andrew farmer and mason, 54-year-old John Murray, is now a free man after languishing in prison under horrible conditions for 5 years, waiting on the transcript for his trial so that his appeal could be heard. Last week, the Court of Appeal quashed his convictions and set aside the sentences totaling 7 years after hearing legal arguments from attorney-at-law Melrose Reed that the identification evidence was very poor and the trial judge should have upheld the no-case submission. Murray has described his acquittal as victorious, but bemoaned the fact that he lost everything, even his dignity, while he was incarcerated. His 3 young children also suffered a significant hardship because of his ordeal. People in his community of Red Hills, St. Andrew, described Murray as a first-class Mason and said they knew he was not involved in any criminality. Murray was in Stony Hill doing construction work last week when he took time out to speak with the news about his disappointment with the poor handling of his case and the years it took just to get the transcript. Something must be very wrong with our justice system. If I as a poor innocent man have to wait so long for my appeal to be heard, therefore I am begging the government to act swiftly to stop this injustice, Murray pleaded. Over the years, lawyers and appellants have been complaining about the delays in getting transcripts, and the Court of Appeal on occasion has frowned on the inordinate delays. This is a total disgrace, said senior attorney-at-law Leonard Green, who is the president of the Advocates Association of Jamaica. A system that relies on an inadequately staffed cadre of court reporters will never be able to provide a timely judgment. We have not had any shortage of initiatives to address this problem. The fact is that we have had very few persons who have been willing to be trained as court reporters, and those who are qualified are able to find alternative employment locally and overseas, Green said. For the Jamaican people to have a workable system, there must be the political will to invest in modernization of court recording services in light of the existence of available technology to do so, he added, noting that some of the current reporters are individuals who have been taken back on contract after their retirement. Murray, in commenting further on his plight, highlighted the fact that he had never stolen anything in his life. He said his main focus at all times has been to give his children, ages 13, 11, and 9, a good life. I am now in the process of getting a lawyer to assist me to mount a lawsuit against the government because I lost more than $7 million when my freedom was taken away, and I really suffered during my incarceration. I am eternally grateful to my lawyer, Miss Melrose Reed, who took interest in my case and was instrumental in getting me acquitted by the Court of Appeal, said Murray. Murray was arrested in February 2016 following a robbery incident in Mandeville, Manchester. Murray, at the time of his arrest, was farming on land his mother had leased in Manchester. He farmed sweet potatoes, yam, escallion, gungo peas, cassava, and other crops. In addition, I had about 900 chicken in a coop, 4 big hogs, but they were stolen along with a motorcycle I owned because I, who was an innocent man, was locked up, a disappointed Murray recounted. Prison is not a bed of roses, he said, as he described the terrible conditions behind the bars. He said he now suffers from back pains and his sight deteriorated while in prison. Right now I need $50,000 to buy a pair of eyeglasses, he said. Murray was convicted in the Gun Court Division of the Manchester Circuit Court of charges of robbery with aggravation and illegal possession of firearm, and sentenced in 2017 to a total of 7 years imprisonment. He filed an appeal in December 2017 against his convictions and the sentence, but the hearing of his appeal was delayed because the transcript of his trial was only sent to the Court of Appeal registry on January 17. Murray would have been released from prison in November of last year if he had not appealed. Last year, the Court of Appeal granted Murray bail pending his appeal because of the length of time he spent in prison waiting for his appeal to be heard. Reed, who represented Murray, argued several grounds of appeal, one of which was that the identification evidence was poor and the trial judge should have upheld the no-case submission. Evidence was given at the trial that about 9:30 p.m. on February 16, 2016, Murray, who was armed with a machete, and another man who was armed with a gun, robbed a man and a woman on Ballyholly Road in Mandeville, Manchester, of a cellular phone and $13,400. Murray's defense was that he was at a political rally in Mandeville when he heard a gunshot and ran. Reed argued that the case against Murray was one of confrontation identification. She submitted that the appellant was not known to the victims and they were said to have identified him by moonlight. Murray was held by the police shortly after the robbery, taken to the police station where the victims, on seeing him, identified him as one of the robbers. Reed said nothing that had been stolen was found in his possession. This case was badly handled. It was tried on flimsy evidence, not that a robbery had not taken place, but who committed the robbery is still at large, Reed said. Reed, in asking the court to quash the convictions, argued that the trial judge accepted the evidence of the victims without applying his mind to the law and properly analyzing the case to establish how he arrived at a guilty verdict. Based on all the legal issues that arose in the case, the court will give its written reasons for freeing Murray at a later date. 6-year land titling timeline set for landowners relocated due to mining activities. Mining Minister Floyd Green has set a timeline of 6 years to clear the backlog of persons awaiting land titles after being relocated due to mining activities. Mr. Green conceded last Wednesday that it is taking too long for these persons to receive their titles, sometimes in excess of 30 years. The minister, speaking at Jamaica's land titling ceremony in East Clarendon, noted that the issue of persons waiting years to receive their titles can be traced to a number of other communities across Jamaica. Nevertheless, he reported that there has been an improvement with the usage of vesting orders under the Bauxite Incentive Special Provisions Act, which allows the portfolio minister to vest a piece of land to a person or a company involved in the bauxite industry. He added that his ministry will be adopting a new approach to expedite the delivery of land titles through the National Land Agency's systematic land registration process. The SLR is the methodical and orderly registration of parcels of land in a designated area known as the Systematic Adjudication Area. Police constable on murder charge to return to court on November 28. A plea and a case management hearing has been scheduled for November 28 in the Home Circuit Court for Constable Clayton Williams, who is accused of shooting a man to death in 2017. The date was scheduled on Friday when Williams appeared in court, where his bail was also extended. In the meantime, the defense and the prosecution were ordered by Justice Vinette Graham Allen to have discussions before the hearing to determine whether full disclosure has been made and whether any of the statements can be agreed on. They are also to decide on the mode of the trial and the estimated length of time. Williams, 45, was charged with murder following an incident on January 12, 2017 in Seaview Gardens in which Shaquille Morris was killed. It is alleged that Morris and another person were walking along Pacific Boulevard, Kingston 11, in Seaview Gardens in which Shaquille Morris was killed. It is alleged that Morris and another person were walking along Pacific Boulevard, Kingston 11, when Williams and another policeman accosted and searched them. It is further alleged that Williams had his service revolver pointed at Morris, who stood with his hands in the air and shouted, "Officer, me no have nothing pa me clean." Immediately afterwards, the other person heard an explosion and saw Williams take a step back and Morris fall to the ground. Williams allegedly shot Morris a second time while he was on the ground. The injured man was taken to the Kingston Public Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. Attorney John Jacobs is representing Williams. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.